For your unique path into TV animation, there's the Animation Network. Real, honest direction.
Hey, welcome back to another quick TV animation lesson by the Animation Network. This week, I'm going to be showing you how to draw on model for TV purposes. This is really important because we need to make sure that on a TV production, we have all of our board artists, which can easily be up to 12 or 14 storyboard artists, drawing the exact same thing, rather than having everybody kind of doing their own take on what they think the characters or designs should look like. Not to mention our counterpart animators in overseas studios. And that's also why we have style guides, so that way we can get everybody drawing the exact same thing the exact same way. So I'm going to give you 3 really great steps to learn how to draw on model using my Cintiq here. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, so like I said, there's going to be 3 things that you want to keep in mind as you're learning to draw a model. And as you can see here, I have just grabbed a model that everybody's already familiar with, so there's no surprises. This is your old pal Timmy Turner, who is from the Fairly OddParents TV show. So this is literally from the exact model sheet that's given out on the show. Okay, so let's take a look at these 3 keys. Now the first one is going to be to analyze the proportions of your character. This can be done really quick just by taking note of things like how big some of the shapes are compared to the rest of the body. For example, it's pretty obvious that here, Timmy's head is quite a bit larger than his body. So that's going to be something key to keeping you on model. If you have his head this much taller than, let's say, the rest of his body here, then this is obviously not on model. So keeping an eye on these kinds of things, how big his hair is, or, how big his eyes are compared to the rest of his face, or even how big his eyes are compared to his ear, which is a similar shape, but they are different sizes. All these things will come into play to make sure that you're kind of locking down something that looks like it should when it's all done at the end. Okay, so the next thing, once you're done analyzing these proportions, is the shape language. This is not so straightforward, so I'll take a second to explain what that is. But you're going to notice while you're looking at Timmy here that it's the very iconic Butch Hartman style. And this is kind of, it's not very soft and very squishy like maybe something you're used to seeing in a Disney cartoon. It's very rigid, it's got a lot of sharp points and angles, and so we are going to now make sure that we're emulating that throughout the whole design. For example, if I drew Timmy's nose and lip kind of the same shape, or if I drew Timmy's teeth a little more squared off, these shapes they're not right. They're just not right. So we want to make sure that we're avoiding that kind of thing. And this can be hard for some people because, well, if it's not your style or something similar to your style, it takes some real effort and some getting used to breaking your habits to learn how to draw like somebody else. But this is the nature of the beast when you get into working in TV animation. You have to learn how to draw like somebody else. And also for the shape language, look at this hand here. This thing looks kind of like a golf club. But notice how all of this shape is encased into one piece and not individual fingers until later when his fingers come apart, when he's, holding up a number of fingers or something like that. And the last thing that I want to point out here is when you're learning to draw a model, literally trace it. What better way to learn how to draw something than to trace it, just like you did when you were 5 or 4 years old. So what I like to do when I'm first learning how to draw a model, or at least when I was first learning how to draw a model, I would trace that model over and over and over. And it's great that you can do that now digitally in Photoshop because you can create as many layers as you want. And, I'll try to draw something maybe, or I'll trace it maybe a good 7 times, and I'll vary it in speed. I'll vary it by, drawing something really fast and then maybe something really slow. But the whole idea is I'm not just tracing this thing just to be tracing it. I'm also thinking. There's some thought process happening where I'm analyzing those first two steps. I'm thinking about the proportion. I'm thinking about the shape language. All of these things and how these pieces connect together is important, and that's what I'm looking for. So once you've traced this model maybe a good 5, 7, even 10 times, then try drawing it on your own without tracing it and see how it comes out. Sometimes I start that way and then go back and trace it, and then I can try drawing it again, and then, you put them side by side and see how good they came out, or at least how good the new one comes out compared to the old one. And you just keep doing that off and on as many times as you need to until you finally get the hang of drawing these characters on model. Awesome. So there's one other thing that I really want to point out before you go off and start learning how to draw everything on model. And that is that you want to make sure that you understand it's not about creating an exact carbon copy of the model. That's how you get stiff, flat, and boring drawings. It's about understanding over exactness. It's not about, does this thing look exactly every line, dot, eyelash, freckle in place? Rather, when you start bending and acting with the character, that it feels cohesive to all the rest of your other board artists who are drawing just like you. That also goes into this other thought that you want to make sure that you can act and be dynamic without losing the integrity of your drawings and staying on that model. Also, when you're drawing these, your goal is not to be drawing in your style, because like I said earlier, you want to be like a chameleon, right? You want to be able to adapt to other people's styles, because that is our job as a production artist. Also, if you're going to be taking a test for, let's say, a TV show, and you're going to be doing a storyboard test where you need to learn how to draw on model, remember that it doesn't have to be exact. In fact, what you're aiming for is getting close enough, because once you get the job, then that's where you get to spend more time exploring and learning the models and how they act and behave and get pieced together. During your storyboard tests, you're just trying to do the best you can within your 1 week window before having to turn it in. And they just need to see that you understand the mechanics of the designs and how they work in animation. Alright, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for checking in with us this time on the Animation Network YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our other YouTube episodes. We got some great stuff, and just search around, see what you think. Be sure to leave us comments so we know what you thought about it, and we know if this is the kind of stuff you like and want to see more of, but we do have plenty more stuff to show you that's coming along the way. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you here next time on the Animation Network.
Wow.